A big rock star welcome to Mr. Clint Arthur! Oh, come on, people!
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey,
Thank
buddy.
you. Boom. Do we have slides? Yesterday, Craig Duswalt, our hero, said you need to avoid 3 kinds of marketing. Bad marketing, no marketing, and copycat marketing. So today, I'm going to address the issue that we all have this big problem.
And there it is.
And there's no slide. Hey, who's on Facebook? Everybody's on Facebook, right? Everybody's on Facebook. That's the problem. You're marketing all the same. And you are making Facebook Live. Who's doing Facebook Live? That's the problem. Everybody's doing Facebook Live. How do you stand out? You have to do things that are different. You have to be seen as somebody special. And the best, most powerful, cheapest, and easiest way to do that is by going on TV. You will have intermittent slides showing you what I'm doing here. Okay? So I'm gonna have to transcend the slides. Okay? So how did I get to be the GKIC Info Marketer of the Year? How do I have people like Dan Kennedy saying that I'm the real thing? How do I have Lisa Sasevich saying that I'm her secret weapon? How do I triple my Koenig sales? How come James Malinchak says that what I do is genius? I've dedicated a life, time, of blood, sweat, and tears to make this happen. And it began a long time ago when I decided I wanted to be a graduate of the Wharton Business School. I wanted to go to Wharton. I thought that if I could graduate from someplace awesome like Wharton, that maybe my parents would stop arguing so much. Anybody have parents who argued when you were a little kid? Okay, for us it was like, when weren't they arguing? And I graduate from Wharton, I go back to my parents' apartment, and that's what you want to be. Maybe this slide will stand out. Maybe this slide will go. You want to stand out from everyone else. You want to get out of the fray of Facebook millions and become the standout person. And how do you do that? Well,
this is our new best friend here, Clint Arthur. Motivational speaker and author of Break Through Your Upper Limits on TV, Clint Arthur.
Clint delivers. He pours it on. He is all heart. And he's a total expert in this space like nobody we've ever met.
Only Clint. He's the only guy that delivers this local television station media training.
Clint Arthur, you totally rock.
Clint over-delivers, and he says it all the time. It's very true. Believe the man. He knows what he's talking about. Wow, like, this is easy. This is what I'm looking for. And, you know, Clint said it would be like that, but now that we're here, I'm actually experiencing it.
Hey, that's just a part of the sizzle reel. You need to have a sizzle reel. And then I will, look, I've had the privilege of sharing this message at Harvard for the entrepreneurship students at Harvard Business School. And there's the photo. You need to see photos to believe what you see, right? Then I've had this privilege to share this message at USC. That's my daughter and me when she was a junior at USC a year ago. And when I spoke for the entrepreneurship students there, they gave me this hat. The logo for the entrepreneurship students is that circle of red dots with one dot outside the circle. That's another way of saying you need to stand out. It's really, really genius. And what I told her and the entrepreneurs at USC is what I would tell my closest friends, my family, and what I'm going to share with you. The secret to succeeding and breaking through, to standing out as an entrepreneur, is stuff that I can 100% guarantee to deliver. Like, I don't deliver coaching. I don't sell coaching. I don't sell parties. What I sell is marketing assets. You need to have marketing assets. And what are the best kinds of marketing assets? What are the things that Dan Kennedy says are the real thing? What are the things that Lisa Sasevich says makes me her secret weapon? What are the things that Mike Koenig says tripled his sales? Why does James Malinchak call me and what I do a genius? Television, because it gives you great videos. Celebrity. How many times did Craig Duswalt and Ernie Hudson talk about celebrities yesterday? You need to be doing the same kinds of things, and you need to have assets that position you as an expert and a celebrity on television and around the world. How do you do that? How do you become somebody instead of nobody? So think about where you were on New Year's Eve of December 31st, 1999, the millennium. Who was getting their Y2K money out of the ATMs, right? That was me right there driving the taxi here in LA. And how did I get there? I graduated from the Wharton Business School. I was the Wharton taxi driver. How did that happen to me? Well, like I was telling you, my parents argued all the time. I thought if I could become somebody special, somebody graduated from Wharton, the best business school in the world, maybe they'd stop arguing. I graduate, I go home, boom, huge explosion, argument. Dad storms out of the house, and I turn to my mom and I say, hey, Mom, you know, the way he resents you all these years, have you been cheating on Dad? And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, what kind of smart-ass kid asks his own mother a question like that? And then I'm thinking to myself, how come my mom isn't answering that question? And then she says, he's not your real father. Your real father was a doctor at the fertility clinic, and you look just like him. Now imagine how you would feel. Everything I thought I knew about who I was, poof. I didn't even know what I wanted to be anymore when I grew up. So naturally, I moved out to Hollywood, started to pursue the Hollywood dream. That put me behind the wheel of the taxi for years. And I'm thinking, how am I ever going to get out of this? And it came to be New Year's Eve, 1999, and in the backseat of the cab are these two guys from Goldman Sachs talking about the new partner, Mr. Carrera, who cashed out $100 million. And I turn around, out of Goldman Sachs, he cashed out $100 million. I turn around and I go, hey, you guys talking about Chris Carrera? They go, how do you know Mr. Carrera? Chris Carrera was a pledge in my fraternity when I was the pledge master. I used to make that little punk dance around the living room with his underpants on top of his head. Now he cashed out $100 million, and I'm driving my cab on New Year's Eve of the millennium, and I'm counting my money at the end of the night. Chris Carrera, $100 million, $513 I made on New Year's Eve of the millennium. Man, this wasn't supposed to be this way. I was supposed to be somebody special. Now, anybody else ever find themselves in a ditch like that in their life where you didn't know how you were going to get out? I'm telling you, if I could do it, if I could get out of that ditch, out behind the wheel of that cab, anything is possible. And I got out of taxi driving and I started selling butter. And I started making money, and lucky for me, I met a woman who believed in me more than I believed in myself. And she encouraged me to do anything that I wanted to do in business, and I wrote a book about how I turned my life around, and nobody was buying it. I self-published it on CreateSpace. Any other CreateSpace self-publishers out here? Good. So I sought out mentors. That's when I really started seeking out mentors. Jack Canfield said, hey, you got to go on TV and become somebody special. See, I was trying to make it in Hollywood, but I was nobody. And Hollywood is a microcosm of everything else. Hey, if you think only Hollywood stars need to be somebody, you're wrong. You want to make it, you want to avoid your own taxi driving nightmares, you have to be somebody. And so I went on TV and I hired a publicist, and I paid a fortune of money to that publicist to book me on my first few shows. And then my genius wife, who is, quite frankly, the smartest person in the entire world, said, hey, why don't you try booking yourself on these shows instead of paying this lady all that money? And in my first year, it was really hard. It took me months to figure out how to do this, but I did. And in my first year, I booked 7 shows. My second year, I booked another 20 shows. My 32nd appearance, I booked off an email I sent to a producer I've never spoken to before or since. She just booked me cold off the email because I had all those clips on my media page. And my 57th appearance was on the Today Show. It took me 3 years to make it to that. But I started codifying and figuring out what's really working. And I made a system, a mathematical formula for how anybody can get on TV anytime you want for free. And that has enabled my students, like Veronica Gray, to book themselves all the way to Good Morning America in just 2 years on her own. Then I created a celebrity launch pad to accelerate the process. It put Kellyanne Petrucci on Dr. Oz in 13 months. It put Joyce Joya on the Today Show in just 8 months. And it put Sandy Masori on the Today Show in just 3 months. It really is possible for anybody to do this today. It's amazing. My students have booked more than 3,100 television appearances in just the last 4.5 years. And you can do this too. Now, the next part of what you need besides TV is expert positioning. All the biggest experts do it. Dan Kennedy immediately starts talking about how he spoke in arenas with George Bush and Donald Trump. Brendan Burchard. Who's seen Brendan Burchard speak? If you've seen him speak, you've definitely heard him say, I've had the great privilege of sharing the stage with Sir Richard Branson and the Dalai Lama, huge celebrity names, at great corporations like GE, Accenture, and Amazon. I wanted celebrity positioning statements like those guys. I wanted the ultimate. I wanted to speak at Harvard. I wanted a 3-camera video of myself speaking at Harvard. I wanted photos with a large audience of me speaking at Harvard. And I wanted photos with a major celebrity. And this year, I'm putting on a thought leader conference that delivers these exact assets plus bragging rights about, I spoke at Harvard about this 9 years ago, and I'm even more excited and convinced that this is the solution. This is the Harvard expert positioning solution, and that is what I do, and this is a photo that comes out of it. Your celebrity sizzle reel, we don't have time, but look, I think back on why did I do this? Why did I get 81 television appearances? Looking back on it all, it's because I've been hoping that maybe on a subconscious level, my real father would see me. And unfortunately, that hasn't ever happened. But the times when I felt closest to really healing this wound of not knowing have been the times when I've been able to share my message. On stage, on television, etc. And the other times when it's been really powerful for me have been the times when my students, my friends, have been able to live their dreams out, like Kellyanne and Veronica and Joyce and all the many others who've been on so many TV shows. That's why we do what we do. And if you would like to avoid...
You mentioned that that's an important thing too.
The taxi driving perils of your own entrepreneurial career, I encourage you, get on TV, get celebrity positioning, and get that Harvard expert positioning, which is bulletproof to empower you for the rest of your career. We have a booth right outside that door. On the break, I'm going to be giving away a $1,000 home study kit.
Oh, I thought you were going to say $1,000.
A $1,000 home study kit at my break right there. Thank you very much. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you, Clint Arthur! Boom, sorry about the beginning. That's awesome.